Hey sweets, let's make a two-tiered bridal shower cake. This is everything you will need to make this beautiful edible art. All right, I'm starting out. I have a white 12-inch cake drum. It was just purchased off of Amazon. I hope everybody is happy, healthy, and well. So let's start. I have my American buttercream. You see me kind of just smoothing it out. Now, I will remind you guys, I like to work with cakes that are pretty close to frozen. So you'll see me stutter step on a few different parts of this cake and when you're working with a almost frozen cake or a frozen cake, you have to really move quickly and get this buttercream smoothed out how you want it. Because if not, it will freeze on you and you will be sad, my loves. Okay? All right, my sweets. Let's go ahead. It is Miss T. I missed you all. Welcome to another video of how I create. All right. So I like to take my time and kind of put a thicker um, crumb coat on for my rosette cakes. Now, I see a lot of people do the small rosette crumb coat, or how should I say it? A thin crumb coat on their rosette cakes because rosette icing is actually very heavy. I will tell you guys one thing I hate to see is when you look through the cake, you can see where the crumb coat is. So I'm always real big on creating kind of a thick enough layer. I won't say thicker, just thick enough where it creates a almost a canvas. I like to think of my cakes as a canvas. So we are going to go around and just capture any of these crumbs that may come off. And um, if I didn't say it, these are almost frozen cakes. I think I did. But those of you that are newer or starting out and you want to start doing this for yourself, I would definitely recommend at least refrigerating your cakes for 35 to 45 minutes. If you don't want to freeze them, sometimes I freeze overnight and then I'll take them out to bring them to room temperature and then move forward with my what am I trying to think? I'll move forward with my decorations. Okay. So here I am just kind of smoothing the cake out. Let's talk about how amazing it is to have known this wonderful woman and her mother. She is a phenomenal woman. And I felt really blessed to be honored with this cake. Very easy. It was, I mean, I don't know. We came up with the ideas in a short period of time. They were really easy to work with. I love that for me. I love that for them. And they loved the cake. It was a very beautiful, beautiful cake. You guys will see pictures at the end. I think I included pictures. If not, I dropped my TikTok video in. And those of you that don't follow me on TikTok, what you waiting for, baby? Come on through. If you would like to start a business doing this or even as a hobby, I'm offering one-on-one classes. So I will begin to put that down in the description and we can do some things together. We can build up skills together, right? Okay. Now, I will say sometime I go for the perfectionist look, but then I have to remember this is a rosette cake. So I'm just trying to make sure that the buttercream is even here. Once I kind of caught hold of myself, I'm like, okay, guys, I gotta slow down. But I was on a time schedule too. Okay, here's cake number two, and you can see that it's still frozen. This was the cake that gave me problems. So I'm trying to smash it down. The edges are thawed, but the middle of the cake, super frozen. So it's going to be a struggle when I get to the top. So pray for me. Okay. So let's go ahead and I like to merge my two cakes. I don't always use a piping bag because sometimes I feel like that's just a waste of a bag, overkill. Um, I don't know. I like to work smart and not hard. So for me, it would be I want to do things that eliminate extra steps, if that makes sense. So here I am, I'm smoothing my cake and trying to make sure the seams of the cakes are invisible. And that is a major, major key when you are creating any type of cake for me, but most definitely a rosette cake. You don't want your cakes to be um, mis misstepped. What am I trying to say? Like uneven. If they're uneven, your rosettes are going to be uneven. If your cake is bulging, it's going to be uneven. You see me with my bench scraper coming back around, and you can see it's almost 100% even, and I love that for me. They baked beautiful and even. I do have some places that I would like to add more icing. That is what I am pointing out to you to fill that in, because again, if we have divots in the cake, it can make it uneven. All right, so I am really trying to figure out where I am as far as how much icing I want to put on the top of the cake, because I don't want to add too much icing and it begins to freeze. So I'm adding it a little bit at a time. And y'all, I do love my big offset spatula for the bottom of the cakes. And you see me trying to go fast, but baby, listen, but this is definitely a thing. I'm turning and I'm just trying to make sure that I got enough and smoothing it out. And I'm trying to do my best. The sides are unthawed, so I'm not so pressed about the sides, but I am really, really worried about this frozen top of this cake, because if done incorrectly, it will cause the cake to be lump-sided, where it's frozen will be lifted and the other side will like look droopy falling down. I've had that happen many, many years ago. Don't ever want to experience that again on a two-tier cake. That is a horrible thing, and there really is no fix for that that I know of. If you guys have a fix for that, definitely drop it down in the comments. I love that. Okay, so we're going to clean up our edges. We're just pulling the icing back to the middle and releasing any excess icing. Now, I will say I am a perfectionist when it comes to the divots in the cake. And it's easier to do with a baggie, I do know, but I had already committed to not using a baggie. So here I am coming back in with my offset spatula and my bench scraper trying to make sure this cake is completely smooth on the sides, because the top, there is a third layer. You guys seen in the ingredients, there's three 9-inch layers of cake. All of these cakes were vanilla and princess cake. I loved it. It smelled amazing. I was hungry. Oh my gosh, I was so hungry. But I do know, like, when you have wedding cakes and things like that, sometimes you will have to um, use a thicker layer of crumb coat, because you don't want, like, having a vanilla cake and a red velvet cake and the red is showing through. You don't want to do that. And this cake is going to be some pretty, pretty blues, as you guys seen on the picture. So thank goodness that this whole cake is going to be a deeper color, so I don't have to worry about this. And I think I may have thought about this recently. I may have said it in another video. I do. Look how smooth that is. Ooh, it's so amazing. Okay, we're ready for layer 3. Now, those of you that don't know, layers are different from tiers. This is still the first tier. The tier is cake dance. The tier is where the cakes stack up. So if there's 3 different stacks of cakes, then you have a 3-tier cake. If there's 2 stacks of cakes, you have a 2-tier cake. But every layer is counted separately. This is a cake that a lot of people get confused about. They're like, oh, well, I want a 3-layer cake. No, dear, this is a 3-layer cake. You're asking me for a 3-tier cake. So I just like to go over that with you guys to let you know. And yes, those of you, my ESNT suites, I am dropping new merch again this year. I'm not sure where I'm going to drop it at. I was having some problems with my website, so I'm working on another one, but you guys will be able to see because I'm wearing my work shirt. I do bake, so I don't punch people in the face. So we love that. It's just little fun, quirky things. I'm a um I'm a silly person, so if you know that, then you know me. Okay, so let's get back to smoothing this cake out. And this is our top layer of our bottom tier. We have to make sure that this one is level. And I'll tell y'all, I eyeball it to death. I have been doing this for a long time, but I sometimes still second guess myself, but I will eyeball it to death and make sure that it is level, right? Because you don't want to stack your top tier and your bottom tier is not ready. Now, let's be mindful. Two of my three cakes are froze in the middle. So I did not actually think about um, it could affect my top tiers. I think it did a little bit. I don't think it gave me too much of a problem, but it made for an interesting time. And now I'm about to switch to my short offset spatula. You guys can see that for the top. I really like the clean, even sweep that it gives me. I don't know. There is actually a difference for me. I guess how I handle the cakes. There's a difference, and I feel like when the cakes are a little bit froze, it helps me get to the icing a little bit better. I can see where I'm wiping and mixing the buttercream. So you can see me start to smooth all the way around the edges, and I'm looking at the middle and I'm trying to think. I don't want it to be where it will be a hump of icing. I want to make sure it is smooth all the way around. I don't always use my bench scraper to scrape the top because I don't know. There's something about it. I just don't really get into it like that. And I'm going back and looking at any imperfections before I refrigerate this crumb coat. And y'all can see how thick my crumb coat is. This cake is not heavy. It's heavy. I'm coming back with my bench scraper. It's heavy, but it's not heavy due to the icing yet. It's heavy enough, but you also want to make sure that your cake is um, cold enough so that once you start rosetting, you can be confident about touching your cake with your one Wilton's 1M piping tip. Because sometimes I will wipe that excess icing off on the cake. I do. I'm not going to beat y'all. Sometimes I will just like lightly, very lightly. But if your icing is not cooled down or froze, now y'all see me taking my bench scraper trying to make it even where I looked again and I just could not figure it out. I said, okay, I'm just going to come across, take a clean sweep and see how this works out for me. And it did because I know there's going to be beautiful rosettes at these corners, these edges. So I have to make sure that this is good for me. Because if you think about the consistency of the icing, you don't want it to be level in some places and uneven in others. So you see me kind of wiping down some of this excess icing that I felt like I was able to remove. And I'm going to come back with my small offset spatula. And at this point, I'm just removing any excess icing and it's beginning to look cleaner and cleaner to me. But you can see a little bit of cake through one side, which is bothering me. Wait a minute, I'm about to go ahead and put it in the freezer because it had been out for a while. Okay, my 6-inch cakes domed out on me, as they do pretty often, because I try to overfill them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want people to have the most, the absolute most. I'm going to take my serrated cake knife And I only have a big one. I don't know where I lost my little one at. And I'm going to cut my domes off of my cakes, right? And then I am going to crumb coat those. Yes, I do crumb coat both tiers. Here I am, slowly trying to figure this out and trying not to cut myself. And this cake smells so amazing, y'all. I just wanted to eat lunch and do things. Right, look at that. So, sometime I give it straight to the kids. Sometime I eat it. Sometime we just put it in a freezer bag and make cake pops later. But you see, it pretty much was even. So now it's time to cut the dome off the second cake. As I decide which side was the highest, that's what I was looking for, where I was working toward. So I always like to go from the higher side to the lower side because for me, that's easier to gauge. And again, y'all see me not using nothing to measure, but that's a lot of dome. That's a lot of cake. All right. And you can see it's almost even. I'm just going to cut a little bit more off of it just for my own personal reasons. I think this might end up being my bottom tier, the bottom of the top tier, and that is going to be how I want it. I can't cut this and hold it, y'all. I don't know why I thought I could, but I'm just cutting off thin layers to make sure that it looks as even as possible. You can see me dump my cake. Okay, there we go. We have a beautiful cake. Now I'm ready as I clean up crumbs, clean up a little bit. Let's go ahead and what am I getting? I think I went to the refrigerator to check the other cake, or I might be going to get a cake turner. Okay, wait a minute, y'all. I'll be right back. All right, I went to check the cake. It was not ready, so I got my cake turner. We are going to crumb coat on this sheet of parchment paper. No, this is wax paper. And I'm going to use my small offset spatula, right? Excuse me. And I always like my bottom one to be face up on a two-tier cake, and then my top one is face down. So I don't know. It's just something about it makes it look more sturdy to me. Ever since I've been doing that, I just feel like there was less um, accidents with the cakes, because sometimes they can be a little off center, but you have to make sure before you get to this point. See, I have an almost perfect sandwich, and I'm going to seal my seams with the buttercream icing. And again, this is American buttercream, y'all. I'm going to drop a video. It's really simple, really quick to make. It doesn't take much. And I'm not going to beat y'all. I do love buttercream. Always have. I think my favorite over the last probably 3 years has become Oreo buttercream because my baby boy, the boss, loves Oreo cake. So who eats Oreo cake without Oreo buttercream? That's like making rice with no gravy. I was raised better than that. Okay, so let's just continue on making this buttercream. And I don't always engage all the way down to the bottom of the cake. I get it pretty close, but if you think about it, you're going to be able to create a seal on this cake once you put your tiers together. And I'm just kind of moving through this pretty fast, pretty quickly. These cakes were not frozen, as y'all can see. They couldn't be frozen because I had to cut them. I had to make sure they were completely unthawed. So I don't want these cakes sitting out long. And like I said, I am on a time schedule. I don't know what made me decide to record this, but I just always love doing um, two-tier cakes and rosette cakes. So I just was like, let me record for my sweets so they can see that it's a lot of work, but If you put your mind to it, you can do it. I mean, of course, these things are taught in my course. Um, how to get your buttercream sturdy and make sure, because if you're using buttercream that is not stable, it will fall off. Now, I do use a different bench scraper for my 6-inch cakes, and that is this one that I can hold with my hands because I feel like I get a better grip on it. It sounds crazy, but for my 3-layer cake, this would not have been tall enough for me, if that makes sense. You guys can see me, and as I turn the cake, it is exactly the height I need it to be. I am looking for endorsements to, I'm looking for someone to endorse a taller offset spatula, but I haven't gotten what I wanted yet. So I'm just gonna wait. People offer me endorsements, and if they're not tools that I'm gonna use, I kind of just say no. So I'm just saying, if you have a tall offset spatula you would like for me to endorse, I am here for it. All right, long as I'm gonna use it, because I'm not gonna tell people to purchase something I wouldn't use for myself in my everyday business, or even for me to make cakes for my family. All right, so we are working on the top tier. Now, this is detrimental because this is what everybody sees first, the very top of the top tier. And we are going to put some beautiful arrangements on in the end. So there will be some floral added to the top. Sometimes, if your top tier is not always all the way smooth on the very top, you can cover your imperfections up with things like flowers, and these are artificial flowers, so I won't actually have to wrap them so much. Um, I don't have to worry about any of the pesticides or anything getting on the cake because these are artificial. They've already been sanitized as much as possible before I put them on the cake. I am now trying to figure out what I want to do with this icing. The cakes are warm, and I'm kind of like talking to my babies. I'm a little bit struggling. It's actually a darker day outside for some reason. It just began to rain, and I was like really overwhelmed because, like I said, I'm on a time schedule, and I could have did this last night, but because it is going to be so tall, I really don't have the room because of other orders. So I'm putting it together now, and I'm going to do the best I can with what I have. Here we go. Just working it a little bit and trying to fill in any spaces that look uneven to me before I put this in the refrigerator, because once it's cold, I would probably be using a knife to even it up, and I don't want to have to do that. I really like being able to do um, these kind of designs because number one, they're really, really elegant, especially for a wedding or a bridal shower, because this is what it is. It's a bridal cake, and I think it's going to be so, so beautiful. It's going to be amazing. Um, at this point, I'm thinking about the process I would like to go through with these rosettes as far as color, because this is going to be an ombre cake if you guys did not see it or kind of looked over it. These blues are beautiful. I want them to look like they're pretty much two tones. And you see, I'm pretty good with this cake, so I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. All right, I'm back, y'all. Okay, time to make color. This is Chef Made Royal Blue Gel Icing Color. Okay, so this is what I use for some of my deeper blues when I don't make them overnight and let them sit. All right, now let's say I'm going to start with the deepest blue, and then I'll be making my way up, if that makes sense, right? So as we get up the cake, it's going to get lighter. That is what ombre means. It means a fusion of color. And before I ever add in my icing color, I do like to stir my icing and I shake it up and I go ahead and I put a little bit in there. And I really was liberal with it because I knew I wanted a deep royal blue. So thought about it and I was like, oh, just a little bit more. Okay. It's it looks like a lot. It's really not a lot for the amount of icing I have in this bowl. Because let's remember what was getting scraped off the cake is in this bowl as well. I made sure there were no crumbs, cake crumbs, when I was wiping the icing into the bowl. And we see it's a very light periwinkle, light sky blue-ish, which I want that to be one of my finishing colors. So I think I'm going to make this a little bit darker. We're going to keep going. We're stirring. We're making sure, please make sure all your icing color is mixed in. There is nothing like going to Rosette and you get to the bottom of the bag. I'm trying to get it to match the cake topper. Bride to be is pretty close. So I know not to go too far. I'm going to add, like I said, I'm going to add a little bit more because it's close. But like I said, sometimes I'm a perfectionist. And you only get married once. I hope. I hope. I've been married more than once though. So at any rate, anytime you get an opportunity to make a cake like this, it's a once in a lifetime chance to see the beautiful faces smiling and enjoying what you were able to create. To me, cake is edible art. It's hard work, but it's just like what artists do. And I'm checking again, but I'm showing y'all what y'all think. Is this close? Is this close enough? I don't know. Give me a second. All right. I looked at it. I checked on it. It's close enough. Let's go. I'm excited. All right. We about to start this. We about to put this in this baggie, baby. It's going to go down. Now, in my bag, this is a Wilton's bag. This is a heavy, thick bag, y'all. So just know this is what I use my Wilton's bags for. And I need Joann's to put them on sale. So if Joann's is out there listening, please put these bags back on sale because I need some more. But in my bag, I have already put in my 1M piping tip. That is what I use for my rosette cakes. Anybody could use whatever they want. I feel like the 1M works best for me on these cakes because these cakes are going to be vertical. I will be going horizontally putting on the rosettes, but being able to move up and over for me, I needed this particular tip. The 2D I've seen people use, and I always try to leave a little bit of icing color in there in case I need to make more of that color. Now, I have a toothpick. I'm going to go through and on our layers, I'm going to mark the cake so I know to stay in between the lines. When y'all was young, didn't they teach y'all to color in between the lines? Or am I just showing my age? So this is why it did not matter that I could see that one particular cake seam because it kind of kept me focused about okay, my rosette should be this big. And I am able to go back and use that as a guide for myself. So I'm just looking for a good place. I feel like a good place to start. And I don't know if this even matters that I turned the cake, but it made me feel like I found a place that I wanted to start. I'm just pulling my icing down some. You don't want to overfill these bags, and I do have problems with my hands sometime from doing this. You want to squeeze a little bit out and make sure that your icing is flowing before you touch your cake, right? Because there's nothing like starting to icing and then boom, you just get sad. I know y'all can't see this. I'm so sorry, y'all. And I'm right-handed, so I move to the right. And that's just how I've always done it. And I'm probably making crazy faces, but I am sober. I'm sober. I'm so uber focused. And I'm eating this piece of candy. I ate a piece of cake off camera. I haven't eaten all day. But you can see me working and working and working. And I don't know why my lights are doing that, but they are doing whatever they are doing. And that was just the lights themselves. Okay, so you do want to go a full row before you start on the next row. So I go all the way around the bottom of the cake, and I then check it and look at any imperfections that could be. I see you guys can't really see this, but I'm gonna scoot it back. Look how precious that is. I want my rosettes to overlap. I don't always use the E pattern. Sometimes I just do the C, and close the C. I don't know how to explain. I'm gonna have to show y'all. I'm probably gonna have to do a video, right? And when my icing gets low like this, I will stop and make sure that I have enough icing in the bag because I am really, really pushing it right now. All right. So if you have excess icing hanging, I just go to like the top of the rosette and dollop to help balance out the icing. Now I'm moving the cake to the side, y'all. I'm going to squeeze all of the icing out of the bag gently because you don't want to pop out your tip. And like I said, these bags are heavy duty and they're expensive. I hate I hate to say it, but they're a little more expensive than I thought they would ever be. So what I'm doing here is using my cup, opening my bag back up because we didn't finish this line. We're going to use this same color icing. We're going to mix it back in, make sure everything is mixed in, and we're going to open up the bag with our spatula so that the icing can get down and you won't have any air bubbles or less air bubbles, hopefully none. And I'm stirring the icing and I'm going to refill my baggie and finish out this bottom row of rosettes. These are my royal blue rosettes. Like I said, this is going to be an ombre cake. So I'm excited to share this with y'all. Now, those of you that wanted to know, I did purchase my uh, fondant silicone mold many years ago at Joann's, and I can't find it at Joann's. So I would just suggest if you're looking for that fondant drape mold, look on Amazon because I've seen it on Amazon. I do not have it in my Amazon shop, but I'm working on that. I'm a work in progress, y'all. So the fondant mold came from Joann's years ago, and it just looks like curtain drapes, or a lot of people use that drape for weddings and things like that. So be mindful when you get your bag resituated, not to get icing everywhere. So I have to always remind myself, pull the bowl back to me so that I can check it and you can see it's still coming out pretty good. I'm gonna wipe it off. I typically use a napkin after I make sure it's okay piping, but I just was really, really excited to get back to these rosettes. And plus, they're sitting out, and I really want them to firm up. So I have to make sure that they are going to be strong enough for me to put the next row on once I finish um, piping these. I will probably put this in the refrigerator. I don't always do like multiple rows unless they're all one color because these are going to be different colors. They probably will, this cake will probably go in the refrigerator. And I hit my air bubble. So you just want to fill your bag before you get back to it. You can see that my rosettes are, some are a little bit bigger on the back side, just by a smidget. You can see that they are a little bit bigger. But how do we fix that? We just come down on the next row. That's it. Nothing major. All right, so I am headed to the refrigerator to refrigerate this cake, and I couldn't cut it off. Y'all, I thought I had hit play. I am so sorry, but I'm already two shades in. So we went from royal blue to a lighter royal blue, and now you see me doing sky blue. And I don't know why I started. I was going so fast. I ended up starting the rosettes, and now I'm really trying to figure out how to get this cake centered and make sure it's centered, but it's kind of throwing me off because of the rosettes. I'm going to do the best I can because I do remember that I need to leave room for the floral. So it's not so big of a deal if your cake is a little pushed back for room for your florals or any embellishments you want to put, maybe a crown or something like that on a cake. You could really push it back just a smidget, not too much, because you don't want it to be looking lopsided. So here I am. You guys can't see me, but I'm actually getting a stabilizer for a cake, for the cakes, and I'm going straight down through the cakes. I don't use 3 and 4 dowels. I do use 1 or 2. Like I said, because I try to deliver my cakes froze, and I really am um, telling people that I express to them the cake care that needs to go into their cakes prior to them ever picking up. So here, I didn't realize you guys couldn't see it. I am actually using my knife to cut the top of the buttercream off where it was just looking unstable. It did not look flush like I wanted it to once it hardened up. So the only thing I could do was pretty much just wipe it off. So for the top, I am going to smooth that down a little bit with this sky blue color icing. And I'm going to try to work it in. I'm going to work around the top and the sides, which I'm sorry, you guys, it is off camera. I didn't realize the cake was this tall. I had already moved the cameras back because you guys can pretty much see my whole shirt. So that way you know that the camera is pushed back. And I'm just using my small offset spatula to make it even on the top. And I'm going to work it down the sides some. And here's where it gets tricky because I do have that set of rosettes that's already beautifully applied to the side of the bottom tier. And Lord help me if I didn't give myself a heart attack trying to do this because it's like I'm turning and I have to really be mindful of where it's going and how it's going to be leveled out rather. So you see me just coming down on the side that is giving me less anxiety. And you now see that my white crumb coat is held up by the blue. So I think that it's going to work out for me. And I'm really just kind of taking my time. And I'm just working my way all the way down to make it look almost seamless. And the offset spatula kind of was, I don't know, giving me a headache. So I'm just going to use my spatula for icing and put this on. And then I'll go back with my scraper and make it even. This is the tricky part, trying not to bump the rosettes or just, it's hard right here. I was so sad. I could not believe I don't think I've ever did that. I was just so excited and I love how the cake was turning out. It was just, I don't know. Everything was just a go. So here I am, trying to make greatness happen, but I'm scared. I am so scared, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. My sweets, I was scared. Like, oh my goodness, I don't want to bump these rosettes and have to start over because at this point, with a layer of rosettes under, yeah, you can scrape off going up, but I don't think I've ever had to scrape a cake going down. So I'm just I'm praying. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I'm praying. And you see me trying to work fast because I can't have this cake out like that. I really just want to make sure the consistency, the thickness is the same, and that's an important thing as well, my sweets. You want to make sure that your icing thickness is the same, and that is why a lot of people do use a piping bag because you kind of can control and regulate the size of the icing that's coming out. You see me gently starting at the edge of the cake and trying to lift over the rosettes as much as possible and trying to figure out what I'm going to do to fix this. Oh, I can't believe I did this, y'all. But I don't know. It's going to be a look at God moment because y'all seen the end. Okay, so I got the bright idea to take the offset spatula back through backwards and do the bottom. And then I could kind of possibly scrape the top. Y'all, this is so unnecessary. I'm not gonna lie. If you don't have to ever do this way, don't. Always leave the top of your bottom tier open so that you can creatively move freely. And that's for anything that you want to add right there. You don't want to have something in the way and then try to work around it unless it's necessary. And this was so not necessary. And I'm stressed out. So you see me stopping because I need to change my mood. I'm changing my music. And I'm going to get back to it. I mean, I can't do anything but. I'm like, okay, well, let me go back to the bench scraper and see if I can make it smooth because I want the top tier to be ultra smooth. I want it to look very, very elegant because you got the ruffles. It's giving the idea of like a dress. You got all these beautiful rosettes at the bottom and then like a beautiful top, like asymmetrical energy. And I'm just trying to work and work and work and work because I need the cake to be smooth because the top is smooth, y'all. We have to keep working. So if you are in the idea, if you're making a cake and your idea is not coming to fruition, I would say just keep working at it. Don't overdo it, but just keep working slowly and diligently at it, and it may come through for you like what happened with this cake. Like I said, I've never done this. And I was able to look at particular parts of the cake and say, okay, I could possibly put florals here. The drape is going to be here. So I didn't really have to look too hard because I already had a vision for the cake. And I was like, okay, well, this could work. I can make this work. And I'm telling myself, like, okay, well, if we fill in these couple little bubbles, the the issue with the buttercream, the point is to not have the bubbles in your buttercream. So that's the point of us smoothing it out, right? Right. So as I'm smoothing out and I'm still seeing air bubbles and things like that, just from it being there, that's just something that buttercream does. I'm like, how can I get this to look absolutely amazing? And I just kept working at it. So there was points where I needed to build up the buttercream because it wasn't all the way the same thickness as the backside. So here I am working it up and it's giving me anxiety. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not crying, but I'm crying on the inside. But yeah, if you know me, like if you've ever made a beautiful cake and didn't cry or stress out, I'm gonna ask you, are you an alien? Because how? But how did you do that? I've created beautiful cakes and not stressed all the way out, but I feel like some of my greatest work, I was either in tears or about in tears. That's just from me to y'all because we family, my sweets. Definitely. So here I am. I was like, okay, I'm just going to take the tall bench scraper and see what I can do because at this point, the small bench scraper is giving me the blues. The tall one, I know I can get it done pretty quickly. And my two cakes, you got to remember when you add icing, they get taller. So now I needed the tall bench scraper. You can see it's pretty clean. It's working out. But there are some things that I really want to do because I know there are going to be focal points on this cake. So I have to make sure that things are turning out for me the way I want them to. And this is where it happened, y'all. I decided that I had to do it. I said, well, things could go a particular way for me if I can get down in between the cake and the rosette. So what I did was cut off a piece of a rosette, and I'm able to keep my bench scraper tilted and turned, which is helping me scrape the cake and make it look way more even. I was able to get away with just taking off that little piece to start the revolutions that I needed to smooth the cake out, y'all. See, sometimes you gotta go through it and be ready to cry, and then God is gonna bless you with that aha moment. Like, oh, okay. Now I've put so much icing on this cake that at the top, all I did, like I have to now re-smooth the top. Okay. That's what I'm saying. There was so much cake applied to the sides, and I just worked it all the way up to the top. If you make cake, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, sweetie, I'm gonna have to show you in another video. Okay. So again, let's be mindful that I am on a time schedule. I'm on a time schedule. So not only have I spent an excessive amount of time working on this cake, and y'all, I don't know how to fast forward my videos. I will try to figure that out so that these videos won't have to be so long. But until I get some videos up on YouTube, I'm still gonna let them be full length. Okay? So thank you for rocking with me. I appreciate y'all being here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But we ain't done yet, baby. We ain't done. We gonna keep going. We gonna make it beautiful. All right. So I'm just checking and looking at the top, making sure things are leveled out and trying to figure out what is going to work best, which size of the cake I like. I am removing any excess icing from the top, and I'm like, okay, here we go. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I like it. Okay, so that's where I am. I'm checking the cake before I decide to continue to do these rosettes on the bottom because how smart would it be to start re-rosetting, if that's a word, to have to scrape them off. That's counterproductive. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. So here I am making sure my piping bag is ready and hopefully I have no air bubbles. And we're going to resume rosetting, which you can see there's not much left to rosette right here. You can see me cleaning my piping tip because I want these rosettes to be really, really clean. I am holding myself steady with my left hand as I rosette, and my hands are bothering me at this point, so I have to use both hands to rosette, but it's still gonna turn out beautiful. All right. That is like, this is so relaxing, y'all. As stressful as this is, when you get to rosetting, this is just like the vibes. I just be like, oh, I'm in my little zone. I'm making my little sea swirls. It's like a rose and a sea. I know a lot of people say make it E, and it no, baby. I started out trying to make them E's. That it looked horrible. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to trying that. But this is how I learned to rosette. I was just playing around, and I was like, what else can I make that might look like a rosette? Cause I can't draw, y'all. My babies can draw. My brothers can draw. I can't draw. So I just be chilling, and I'm going back in and I'm filling in the gaps that I can see, like the bigger gaps that would draw attention. And I am going to use some edible glitter I got off of Amazon as well. Um, I'm trying to even out the top of this part where it looks like the rosettes are coming up to the cake. Like, I don't know, like a bushel or a blossom. I don't know what to call that. But I am just dolloping here. You'll see me going in between and putting a dollop because I don't know where I'm going to need these dollops for floral. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put the floral yet, but I know I wanted them to be on there. So I'm trying to be mindful of the time as well as some of the dollops on the side. And mind you, this is all sky blue buttercream, but the good thing about this is the colors aren't that far off, so I am able to fill in some of these spaces. And the white, if you guys weren't paying attention, the white spaces that you can see in between will eventually be colored up with dollops of that color. So just because the cake has been out so long, I just wanted to finish that part up. I'm going to go ahead and put the cake in the refrigerator for, I do believe it's about 20 minutes this time. May have been a half an hour just to make sure we were steady because the next part is going to require the cake to be firm. So yes, I am going to make room or ask my son to help me make room in the refrigerator because I have to move other orders out the way. Yeah, and here I come. Yay! He did it quickly. He had already did it actually. And yay, we are on to that part. Now I shall return and we are going to make fondant. So if you guys would like to see me make fondant from scratch, leave it down in the comment. And yes, I feel like cleanliness is next to godliness. I am definitely always going to um, handle this buttercream a particular way. That was icing that I was getting off the table, and I am cleaning off the spatula so that I can do what I need to do. Kind of just mixing this back in. And that might be icing to play with later. Okay. If you guys don't know, when buttercream sits for a period of time, it kind of crust over. So that's what was going on. And yes, the table is beyond clean. My hands are clean. All the utensils are clean. You sanitize and then you wash your table and then you dry your table. That is what goes on. I feel like I probably clean more now that I bake. I always cleaned, but there's just always something to clean. So let's just figure that out. All right. So we're just moving forward. We're trying to figure this last little part out. You see me cleaning up. There are still some crumbles of cake, but okay. Now that I've gotten rid of everything else, it is time to work on fondant. Okay? Okay, loves. So we have white Wilton's fondant Blanco. Okay? And we are going to work this fondant. I am going to add some of the color that I already had. And you see, I'm not using a lot. I'm just using what was already on the tip of the chef made icing color. So this is gel icing color that I'm using for the fondant as well. I'm going to use my hands and mix it in. Now I will remind you guys, lot a little goes a long way. So a lot of times you may think you want a deep color. Start out with a little bit and just gradually add to it. So I'm showing you guys as I'm going. And let's remember the top of the cake is sky blue, not royal blue. And I was using royal blue icing color. So what does that mean? Less. We're going to use less of it so that it actually comes through as a sky blue color. Yes, I still have sky blue available, but I want to try this first. And I got faith in me. So you see me handling this. Now, I'll tell you guys, my hands were actually pretty warm. If you have hot hands like my babies do, you definitely need to get some cornstarch on your hands, on your gloves, so that this fondant doesn't stick. And you see me with two drops, two small drops of royal blue icing color in this white Wilton's fondant. Now I'm folding it in. Please be careful not to have air bubbles. This is a place where it does get tricky. A lot of times I'll get air bubbles and I'll just keep pulling the fondant till you stretch and you'll hear a pop. That way you know that air is subsided. Or you could put some cornstarch down and get a roller and roll it out as well. But like I just told you guys, my hands were bothering me a lot and I was on a time schedule. So I just wanted to work it in my hands and I'm able to look at it without putting it down, picking it up, putting it down, picking it up, putting all that cornstarch down. I didn't want to do that. So I really just worked this to a color that was pretty much moving toward what I like. And I was like, okay, well, here we go. I might have to look at the icing. So yeah, it's not far off from the icing. I did not want it the exact color of the icing, but you know, um, it would have a little bit of contrast from that top tier, which is going to bring attention to it. And I'm going to use some edible glitter on it. So it will be a little bit shimmery. And those of you that don't know, true edible glitter is nothing more than sugar and color. Okay? So all these people that are using other things, don't do that. It's not hard to make. Um, I buy mine from um, Amazon. I'm not I'm not sure what brand I use for this, but I will probably try to figure out what it was and put it up there. And you see me just looking at it. I didn't realize you guys could not see the mold. Like I said, I was really working fast at this point. I thought you guys could see the mold, and I'm just putting it down in the mold and working it evenly across the mold. I'm going to start with the biggest one and then work down to the smallest one. I think I got a phone call here or something. Something was going on that I had to take my glove off for a second. Oh, no, I didn't take my glove off. I want to get my roller. And I'm still pushing this into the silicone mold. Oh, yeah, you guys can see. Like I said, I'm working from the biggest one to the smallest one. I'm trying not to overstuff it because I don't want to have to cut the excess off. So I'm just slowly working it in with my hands, working it until it's even and I'm sure that I'm going to get the pattern that I want from this mold. And I'm just leaving a clump on the edge and I'm just going to, boom, just like that. I'm going to roll it back together. I'm going to sit it right there for a second. And then I'm going to work that edge back in. And I'm going to look at it and I'm going to try to do the best I can to smash it and make it even. Okay. And to make it even better, I'm going to use my short fondant roller. I have purchased that many, many moons ago at Joann's. All right, so now we're ready for the second lapel. I'm going to make three lapels. I don't know that I'm going to need all three because this is a 6-inch cake. You kind of want it to look like a drape. So I would suggest more than one because even the first one is long, not wide. So I'm looking for a wider look. So I'm going to layer two of these lapels or whatever they're called because I don't even know what they're called, love. And you see me just working this in and trying to move quickly because fondant does get hot the more you handle it, which makes it stretchy. And this is brand new fondant. So it was really, really sticky. And I don't want to have to put a lot of extra effort into working it. You see, I'm stressed. I am so stressed. Like, why is it doing this to me? I just want you to work with me. And there we go. I am definitely ready. Yay! It worked out for me. Now, is this enough for a third level? I don't know, but let me fix this first. Okay. All right, this is looking good. I like this. Okay, I like this a lot. Okay, it was giving me problems, but now we're friends. All right, here we go. Here we go. My OCD is kicking in, but it is going to work out. It's okay. It's okay. All right, now let's work on Lapple 3. Now, y'all, we may not need this. We may not even need the whole thing. I don't I don't know if I want to use it, but I want to make it just in case I decide to use it. If I don't use it, then it'll be fine. And I'm just taking my hands and lightly stretching. I'm stroking the fondant, which is stretching it out. And you can see, boom, I got three. And the top one, the last one I did not make it all the way. Okay, guys, now we are back. Our cake is cold. We got our lapples. I have it turned toward me because I don't know. I don't know. All right, so what I'm doing here is figuring my placement on the lapples, right? And I got the first one. Please do not set this down until you are for sure that that's where you want it. I wanted it to drape like this, okay? Now, I need to use a shorter one, and I'm going to go right above it. This is so pretty, y'all. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, now I'm trying to make sure that they overlay just a little bit, but I want it to look wide. So here I am trying to fix this part, and you can kind of see it's two. I may be able to fix this, hopefully, but this is the look I'm looking for. Many, many apples or drapes. I don't know. I don't know. What are they called? But regardless, I am now putting on the flowers, and you see me holding them with a toothpick. And these are artificial flowers. And yay, straight like that. Really, really easy. Um, because my cake was cold and I didn't see the space between them. I think when I made this, I'm trying to scoot the cake back so y'all can get the full view of the cake, but I see that I'm about to drop it on the floor, so we're going to stop. And I'm turning the whole cake so you guys can see the whole cake. Look how pretty that is. Look, y'all, look. Okay, so I had to turn it back toward me so that I can put the other flowers on, and they're actually at the top. You guys will see a video, a short video, and a picture in just a second. And I'm just working and trying to make sure everything is good. Placement is really important. So I'm looking for places to put the smaller ones in. And the smaller ones had like a longer stem, so I was able to kind of just set them up on to the buttercream and not really work on it. I'm trying to fold the flower out, but I'm also trying to see. There was a little bit of glitter I had already used, but I stopped. Okay, so these are the flowers that I used. This is the set that I purchased from Amazon. It came with a white flower. I just wanted the blue ones, that's why I bought it. So I surprised her, and she said she liked it. I liked it. All right, so here is the final look of the cake. Let's talk about how beautiful this cake turned out. There will be a video right after this, I believe, a 30-second video, and you will be able to um, see how it turned out. But this is pretty much how it turned out, y'all. It was really, really sweet. I really enjoyed doing this cake. Thank you to the people that were involved. trusting us with a vision that really meant a lot to you. All right. So here we come with pictures and video of the cake. All right. So there we go. I'm excited. Thank you for watching.